I wanted to talk today about swearing and why one shouldn't do it. As for a little background, you have to go back to, I believe it's 1972, Lenny Bruce and George Carlin, two famous comedians. Lenny Bruce actually got arrested for saying 9 words. There were 9 famous words at the time. And he was arrested. And there was a great podcast I listened to recently documenting this. I highly recommend it. And then George Carlin, having seen this, knew he was taking a risk, and he did a famous bit called the 7 words you cannot say on television. I distinctly still remember that being on TV in prime time. Might have been the early 80s or late 70s. And he too was arrested, although once it went to trial, it was overturned and the charges were dropped. So it's always been, what was good about George Carlin is he pointed out the hypocrisy. And so I always like when someone points out the hypocrisy. We shouldn't just accept things. We should question them. And if need be, fight against them, protest. So I like that. But I don't like swearing per se. Now, as far as the messenger, have I ever swore? Yes, I have. But I try very hard not to. If you're... once I remember swinging a hammer and I hit my finger, okay. But if I'm making a video, if I'm talking to a lady, never. And if I just thought about it, if you look over my shoulder, Pulp Fiction, I watched that movie, loaded with swearing, and that took away my admiration for the film. And next to her, Audrey Hepburn. Could you ever imagine a man swearing at a woman as lovely as that? Doesn't work as far as I'm concerned. And another one that just came to mind is a girl who was religious, posted a video of, his name is Benedict Cumberbatch. Pretty good actor. And he did a motivational speech. And in it, he swore, and to me it negated his whole, what would you call it? His whole speech, and the point of it was all negated by the fact that he swore in it. And so I can't recommend that. And I was shocked that this girl posted this video having him do that. To me, as soon as he did that, it negated everything he had to say. So now, the main point of what I wanted to say. 2 podcasters that I like, or used to like anyway. Joe Rogan. Apparently, I've heard that he has the #1 podcast. I can no longer listen to him. The only exception I'll make is Edward Snowden. His message is so important. The things he has to say are so important that I want to listen to what he has to say, and I'll tune out the swearing if it is in there when he talks to Edward. But when I listen to other people he talked to, he had so much swearing that I thought I can no longer listen to this gentleman or the people that he has, the guests he has on. I remember one time, every 5th word he had to say was the F word, and I thought, this is ridiculous. In the English language, we have 400,000 words. You can't think of one synonym to slip in instead of the F word. I thought that's disrespect for your audience, and I no longer want to listen to someone who can't be bothered or make the effort to use a different word instead of that. It's just, and I asked a Scottish guy the other day, because I thought, geez, I got to make sure I'm not being ridiculous. And he said it's just a dumbing down of our intellect generally in the community. That is the reason for this. And so I thought, yeah, he's exactly right. There's no reason that you can't think of a synonym instead of using the F word. And I thought, this has gone too far that somebody can't make a little small effort to do that. For the rest of us who want to listen without hearing that. Okay? And the second one would be Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore, I think I was so lucky to find this gentleman. I found him through someone who listened to the Young Turks. And then Jimmy broke off and made his own show. And he has his own podcast. And I love listening to Jimmy. I learned so much. And recently he did one about his spiritual journey and some talk about his childhood. And so I just love listening to Jimmy. And now Jimmy is using the F word so voluminously that I think I'm going to have to stop listening to him. I'm certainly not going to recommend people listen to him because of that. So there's another one. Leah Remini is doing a podcast where she talks about Scientology, and I wanted to listen to that. But right away she started in with the F word, and I just stopped listening. So once again, someone who has a great message, she's trying to warn people about Scientology, ruined because she can't stop using the F word. Now, as for me, what happened with me? After I finished playing hockey, I took up squash for the school. You had to do one physical education. I took up squash, and then we had a tournament at this posh, prestigious private school, and I went to play there. Now, I was in great shape at the time, but I wasn't the best squash player. I was learning. I was pretty good, but not. I was playing against people who were really good. And so I remember distinctly in the afternoon, my first match was against this guy, and he was really good. And he was pounding me pretty good. But I tell you, I was in great shape. I mean, I was in amazing shape from having played hockey. And I gave this guy in the first set all he could handle. But in the back row, listening was the teachers. And I guess I had, every time I was stretching for a point, I had inadvertently, or I didn't know, said the F word. And after the first match, the teacher leaned over the railing and said to me, I heard you swearing. And he goes, I don't want you to say it again. And I thought, okay, I said I apologized. I didn't know I was swearing. And I did stop swearing. And I managed, but then the gentleman beat me. I won the first set, and I asked my friend, how am I doing? And he goes, you did amazing. He goes, but this guy's going to beat you. And sure enough, he pounded me. I had no energy left to carry on. So my message is very simple. There is no reason that anyone needs to use a swear word. And I encourage you not to. Okay? That's my simple message. Okay? Thanks. Bye-bye.